Alright, so we're back for part 3 of our goat's milk soap making video. Let's see where we're at. So we got our oils here. They're completely dissolved, they're completely clear. You can see straight through to the bottom of the pot. And they are sitting at about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And our goat's milk is sitting right at the same temperature. So trust me, I checked before, it's about 100 degrees. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have some fun here. We're going to take, be real careful where you put this stuff. Shove that in there. We're going to take this pot and dump it into this pot. Now be very careful doing this, because remember, this is lye, and to get it on you would suck. So it happens that these pots here nest very well together. And by that I mean that they'll just happily sit like that, and the lye milk can drain down into the pot. That way you don't jack up the measurements. So just to catch you guys up, here's our add-in stuff here. I got some ground up oatmeal, just Quaker oats. Then we've got some lavender blossoms that we picked from the garden, and then I've got 2 ounces of lavender essential oil there, and that's going to be the stuff we add. And then over here we've got our molds, which are lined with freezer paper. You can also use silicone cake molds or other stuff, whatever. There's some watermelons that we got out of the garden, etc., etc. This should be just about done. Close enough. Alright, now that we've got this thing, I'll have to use 2 hands here. Now that we've got this, the water and the lye are mixed together in there. You can see they kind of separate out a little bit. Let's see if I can get some light in there. Now you can see that the water and the lye and the oil and the lye don't really mix together too well on their own. And that's why we have this cool thing called a stick blender. Just your typical stick blender, cheapest one you can find. Start out here, you can see it's really kind of watery. I guess in this case it'd be milky. And we're going to take the stick blender and we're just going to push it around. You can see right away if it's much more consistent. Now the longer I do this, the more it's going to take on a thicker consistency. It's going to get more like pudding almost. And that point right there just before that is called trace, and that's because you can trace a line in the soap and it would stay there. And that's where we're going to add our stuff. So a little more of this. Depending upon your recipe, this can take a long time. If you just use a spoon, it will take hours. So stick blender, definitely the way to go. You get it in there like that. You can see already it's kind of starting to thicken up a little bit there. So we're going to keep doing this and we'll check back in when it's traced. Alright, so we've been stirring for a few minutes here, and you can see it's starting to thicken up. And this is what they mean when they say trace. That means I can run the mixer along there, and you can see in the soap where it was. It leaves a trace. It's pretty aptly named, so it's hard to screw that up. Now, the little thing here to keep in mind is this is when you want to put your stuff in. If you're going to put oatmeal, in our case, oatmeal and lavender and essential oils, we'll put those in there right now. Here's the trick about essential oils. Essential oils will affect how the soap traces. In most cases, it will greatly accelerate the tracing process. So we're going to put this junk in here, but when we do that, we really need to pay attention to how fast it's tracing, because once we put the essential oils in there, they will make it harden and thicken a lot faster. So we got to kind of stay on the ball with that. So now that we're at trace here, you can see getting a little surface tension there going. We'll go ahead and take and we'll stop this stuff in here like so. This is one of our more popular soaps. I guess people just like the natural stuff. We got a lot of big people that buy it. I guess I use the low speed so I don't grind up the blossoms and stuff, so they stay whole. Just kind of work it in there, get it nice and consistent. There we go. This is our goat's milk lavender oatmeal. You can see all kinds of good stuff in there. Nice thick trace. Make sure there's no real one spot where it's all collecting, like on the edges or something like that. Looks pretty good, looks nice and consistent. And now, do this one-handed. Look at that. Mad skills. Essential oil ounce 1, essential oil ounce 2. These are not fragrance oils, these are essential oils. Fragrance oils would not affect the tracing of soap. Fragrance oil, or the essential oils do a lot. As you'll see here in a sec. Mix those in real good so it's all consistent. And this stuff is starting to thicken up pretty good here. You can tell it's really getting to be almost like a pudding. Depending upon the type of mold you're using, you can go ahead and pour it right now. My molds have a seam along the bottom where they would leak out, so I have to pour it a really heavy trace, but if you use different molds that are sealed, you don't have to worry about that. This is ready to pour at this point, so you're ready to go. You can see how much different it is. Vastly different. You can see the trace sticks the whole. Got quite a bit of clumping on there, so it's getting really thick. And the oil, I can feel it thickening up with the oils in there now, the essential oils. This is going to like really get thick fast in here in a second. This is, for any other mold, this is ready to pour. You can see it's almost like the whole thing moves. It's getting kind of sloppy. Slippity sloppity. Yeah, I think that's about ready to go. When you can shake it and the things stay on the top there, I think you're in pretty good shape. Alright, so I'm going to have to use 2 hands to pour this into the molds. What we'll do, I'll walk you through it. So we'll go ahead and dump it in here. Dump it in. You can see this is actually a separate panel here, so there's a little seam on the inside. If the soap's too thin, it'll just kind of work through, and that's kind of a big mess. So not good. Nice thick trace. Pour it in here. Get it up here. We'll smooth it out. Take a spatula or something. You just want to work it into the corners so you work out any air bubbles. Then we'll put the lid on. It's over here. Put the lid on there, and we'll just kind of work it down to kind of smooth it out the top. And then they'll set overnight, and hopefully come up with a good bar of soap. All right. So what we've done is we've taken the stuff that was in this pot. We've poured it straight into this mold. You can see it's thick enough so that it's not weeping out of here, which is always good. And we get our spatula. You just kind of want to smooth it over. It's not so chunky. Work it into the corners real good. Work out any air bubbles. Make it nice and consistent there on the side. And then we'll come over here to do the same thing with this one. It's kind of gloppy. It's nice and thick. We'll smooth it over. And work it into the corners there. Any air bubbles, you kind of work along the sides. Smooth it out. That's it. It goes in there. Take our lid, work it down there. Kind of just work it like that. Get the air out of it. Come back and forth. Same thing with this one. Now, in case you're curious, this is a 4-pound mold. This is a 6-pound mold. So all told, it's supposed to be about 10 pounds of soap. It's actually, the recipe makes 86. Well, that's about 10 pounds, I guess. We'll have to weigh it and see. But yeah, so that's it pretty much. And then you just go ahead and clean up a nice strong spray from the water hose over the driveway. We'll take care of that. All of this stuff you'll rinse out. For any lye contact, use vinegar. Distilled white vinegar will neutralize it. I don't have any on my hands, so lucked out. So we're going to let this sit overnight. It's going to heat up and go through a gel phase, and then we'll go get it out of the molds tomorrow and see how it looks. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Alright, well, as you can see, it's a beautiful day outside, and we're going to see how our soap turned out. So come on. This is this is a 6-pound mold that we had filled up the other night. Obviously, when I'm shooting the video, I got to do it one-handed, so I've already undone the tape here. But so we can see it's been in the mold about 24 hours. Take the top and peel it down, and have a look at that. That is a pretty soap. This is our goat's milk lavender oatmeal soap. This is one of the more popular ones. It's very difficult to keep on the site. You can see the reasoning behind having the sides pop off of there, so you can get it out and get it clean. Likewise over here. I used masking tape on this, but in the past I've also used painter's tape, which works really well to hold this stuff. But the thing is that painter's tape's a little more expensive. So if you get a lot of bling to throw around for tape, go with the painter's tape. It's easier to use. Masking tape is not too bad, and it's cheaper. Some other folks like to use parchment paper, that sort of stuff. Alright, so here's our bar of soap. Actually, this is our loaf of soap. You can see, if you look really closely, the remnants of the gel phase. When soap saponifies, it gets hot and it goes to a gel phase. And this is where the boundary of that gelling was. This was hot enough to gel at this point, and the outer pieces did not reach that point. They're still a good soap. No difference, it just looks a little different color. And they might have a little different consistency between the two types. The end pieces I usually cut anyway and keep those for ourselves, so it's a nice, consistent bar. It's kind of, you don't want to sell somebody a bar that's got like a weird border on it and stuff like that. So what we'll do is we'll take this, we'll trim down the sides a little bit, put that in our super expensive fancy pants soap cutter, which we use a bagel slicer to just do that number with, and that'll be it. So Listen, I appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks.